Today on DNVR Buffs Live, breaking down day 11 of practice, we spoke to Zy Crisler for the first time.
Crisler.
A couple coaches. Shedeur Sanders draft odds, the new 2026 cornerback target for Coach Prime and the Buffs, and much more. Let's go. Bussin' Buffs. Beautiful, because it's a beautiful day. I think it's actually spring.
I think
Yeah, knock on wood.
I'm hesitant to agree with you, but I think I do, bro. It seems that we finally reached that point.
A week from Saturday, we'll confirm whether or not
Yes.
it's actually spring or not.
Yes, 100%. Because I think I seen like 87 degrees on Sunday.
My Lord.
So we love that.
I think, all right. Are you ready? The first weather preview for next Saturday's spring game. This is according to the Apple weather app, though. So,
which we all use.
Yeah, take this with about 1,000 grains of salt. But 73 degrees, partly cloudy.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
If
it stays like that, cool. Like I said, I don't even need no sun. I don't need no sun. You feel me?
That's true. I just no snow.
I just need no precipitation.
Or, rain too, for that matter.
No precipitation.
What's up, chap?
Chatsky, talk to us. What's
the
word?
Boonsville, TZ, Artemis, all the OGs, Essence Services, Mr. Hillsman.
Wide.
Welcome to the live, Gilly. Today, a lot to get into. Shedeur Sanders draft odds we'll get into. Cam Abshire, a target out of the portal. No longer a target. Commits to Oklahoma State. We'll talk about that. Nico Iamaleava. Have you seen that story?
I did.
We'll dig into that as well. The new cornerback target for the Buffs. But we'll start with today's practices. We spoke to two coaches, Coach Bartolone, the tight ends coach, and Coach Mathis, the cornerbacks coach. Pretty encouraging day. And then we spoke to the Crisler. Zy Crisler for the first time.
What a unit.
Massive.
A unit.
Yeah.
I mean, that boy is huge. If you can pull up his actual measurables, it's got to be like, well, I think they had him at like 6'7", damn near.
I would believe that,
right?
Bro.
Like 330 plus. And he he looks very much the part. And one thing that I just wrote down here before the show. What do all these guys have in common?
The three guys we talked to? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Caden Salter, Julian Lewis, Jordan Seaton, DJ McKinney, Arden Walker, Draylon Miller, and Zy Crisler. Some elite names I just threw out there, right?
Yeah.
What do they all have in common?
I don't know.
They were sent out to talk to the media this spring. Zy Crisler is already in that company with the quarterbacks.
Say the names again.
The quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Caden Salter, Julian Lewis, Jordan Seaton,
Yep.
DJ McKinney,
Yep.
Arden Walker, Draylon Miller, and Zy Crisler.
That's the
core.
Those are all leaders and dog candidates, I think.
All leaders and dogs. And again, Zy Crisler has quickly put himself into that territory with those, leaders and dogs, like you said. And I like how, he talked about when I got here, when you're the new guy, I'm not trying to do too much. I'm not trying to, act like I'm the new dog, on the block right away. He kind of,
run this.
Right. He eased himself in. He got to know everybody, and he's already, as we see, looked at as a leader on that offensive line. That's awesome stuff. Hey, shout out to Gilly.
Shout out Gilly. Let's go.
Shout out to Gilly.
Everyone should be more like Gilly.
Gilly finally became a diehard man. Gilly, that's what we love to see. Everybody out there, if you're not a diehard, go make sure you do that. Catch all of our fire content from Jake and myself. You won't miss anything. You get a bunch of awesome perks, both on the website. You get a free t-shirt.
Yep.
You get discounts here at our DNVR bar. But like I said, most importantly, you get exclusive content from Jake and I. Shout out Gilly. We love to see it.
You get to hop in the Discord.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... We dropped some nuggets in there. It's portal season, so you're going to want to get in now because...
Good point. Good point, my guy.
You'll hear it here first. Shout out to Kamoy Music, too. Listening for 3 years. My second time actually catching a live show. Let's go, man. Welcome in. All right. Zy Crisler listed at 6'7", 340.
That's ridiculous.
It's insane.
That's ridiculous.
Let's hear from the big man. Learned a lot from him today. Only 5 or so minutes on the podium from him, but quality 5 minutes.
Yes.
You don't get that from everyone who's coaches, players included,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on
True.
the podium. So here's Zy talking about his experience as a player. I think you asked that question. Just, what was it, 6 years he's played? 30 plus starts?
30 starts. 30 starts in the Big Ten at Illinois. A lot of experience. I mean, he is the most experienced guy on this offensive line.
Yep.
Right? So I just asked him about, with that experience, if he kind of feels an obligation to be a leader for this unit.
Yep.
And here's his answer.
Yeah, with that answer too, or with that experience too, playing all over the offensive line. So here's him on his experience and what position he wants to play.
First, you know, new guy, you don't want to just come off as just like, yeah, I'm the new guy in town, and yeah, we finna run this. But you know, I just eased in, got to know everybody, and I feel like everybody look up to me now as like, you know, a leader kind of. Me and C and everybody on the line, actually starters or whatever right now. So I feel like they look up to me, and we're going in the right direction. Appreciate it. Let's say I feel comfortable playing whatever you put me. To be honest, I'm not trying to be cocky, but wherever you put me, I'm trying my best and like train at it to be whatever. But inside, outside, wherever you put me, I'm gonna dominate it. I'm gonna work hard to make sure I'm the best at what I do.
Uh-oh.
God, why? You guys are lies.
Chat, we're still here. Don't worry. What was your impression from that answer?
It's a grown man.
Yeah, facts.
And somebody who is going about being a leader the right way, right? And obviously he mentioned, like, he was talking about Jordan, like, I thought he was going to be older, but this is a 19-year-old kid. I thought Cash was going to be older, but this is a freshman still. You know what I'm saying? And that's a lot of that room, aside from probably him and maybe Moneta Imani and, you know, maybe some of the other guys who are returning. But that's generally a pretty young group. And I think Zy Crisler, not only his leadership, but, you know, obviously what he's able to do on the football field, it's part of the reason I believe he made our Final Four when we were doing our additions.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
he made our Final Four, if not Elite Eight for sure. So Zy Crisler is, and you mentioned it too, him playing all. I mean, he was an all-conference guy back in JUCO in 2021. We back, chat. But I feel like that's not nothing. You know, starting your career at JUCO, kind of getting it out of the mud. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Going to Illinois, balling, making, you know, your presence felt there. Starting in 30 games, and now you're here at Colorado for kind of probably your last hurrah. Is he a senior? Is Zy a senior?
He's a grad.
He's a grad for your last hurrah.
Yep.
You hear on the stage that only Coach Prime and, you know, the Colorado Buffaloes can kind of present you. So I really love everything about this young man so far.
For sure. Okay. Here's Zy talking about why he picked CU, what appealed to him out of the portal. Pretty insightful answer. Two-parter too. So here you go.
I feel like this, all right? So I went on a couple of visits. I got tired real quick because we went from Cali to Colorado to somewhere else. So I started narrowing it down. I could have went back home or whatever. Yeah, I like the scenery right here, and it looks nice. And why not? Why not Colorado? Let's do it. Coach here too. Coach Dion doing something great here. Let's keep pushing. When recruiting here, the first thing they said, we got to run the rock. And as a Big Ten, we run the rock. So I was like, okay, passing a lot. I'm like, so now we're gonna do number run a lot. We good running and everything. Everything just comes along. We running.
They are for sure going to run that ball. We did not go in the portal, by the way. We've been here.
I always say, we used to run the rock from where I come from.
This is just nothing new to me.
And back in 2022, Zy Crisler was part of the Illinois offensive line that was the first offensive line in program history to be named the Joe Moore Award semifinalist,
Big time. Which
obviously goes to the best offensive line unit in college football. So he is used to playing high-level football at multiple positions along the offensive line. That's what we need, and I think that identity is what we need to in terms of a guy who is used to run blocking, used to that being the offense's identity, and kind of helping that bleed into the rest of the unit offensively here for Colorado, because that has to be the biggest thing I think that changes from last year to this year.
Yes,
there has to be more balance, and there has to be more of a commitment to the running game, and guys like Zy Crisler and maybe a couple guys we'll talk about later are going to have a big impact on that.
I think this is why he was on the podium. I think this is why he's emerged as a leader, why he made championship, Final Four, whatever, in our bracket.
Yeah.
In order to have that change in mentality, that change in philosophy, you need someone carrying the banner who's been there and done that, right?
Definitely.
You can say it, you can watch film, do whatever you want, train a different way. But unless you have someone who's been there, done that to kind of lead especially the players, not just a coach, but to lead the players, show them by example. This is why he's such a massive addition, and it's part of the reason why I think Colorado is very, very confident that they're going to be able to execute this scheme and philosophy shift pretty seamlessly.
You know how I know Zy Crisler is another Coach Prime guy too?
What you got?
Academic all Big Ten.
It's perfect. Smart, tough, fast, discipline with character.
Coach Prime didn't play about them grades, and it seems like Zy Crisler don't either.
Yep.
Checking all the boxes.
Next thing from Zy, I asked him, what have his battles been like with Colorado's defensive line? Obviously, we think the best defensive line in the conference in the Big 12.
Yeah.
They proved it last year, and we think they can do it again. Here's what he's had to say from what he's seen in competition.
Every day they come after me. Coach Sal make them come after me. They like going against me too, because I'm a little experienced guy too. So I like going against Barnes, Feet, big guys in Amari, all of them actually. Everybody good, man. But I'm gonna stand my ground and I'm gonna do me. So I love going against people. I'm competitive, so do what I gotta do.
Iron sharpens iron.
I love that he said Sap make him come at me.
Yep. Because Sap sees him and he goes, "Oh, okay."
Aside obviously from Jordan Seaton, Zy Crisler is obviously the best offensive lineman on this team. And going against Jordan Seaton is dominant and is really good as he is. He's still a young guy.
Sure.
But Zy Crisler is a bull, a strong, a big man. And obviously, like you said, he has 30 games of experience. And those guys, Tawfiq Thomas, the Mari McNeils, the Anquin Barnes, they want to go against somebody who, like you said, can sharpen iron. You know what I'm saying? Can get the best out of them, make them really challenge themselves. So I just love to see that. And, Zy Crisler is obviously he's going to make a big impact on this offense, but what he might do to, unlock another level in some of these defensive linemen that can't go understated either.
Tell me if I'm reading too much into this. He didn't mention Jaheim Otis. He plays guard. Jaheim playing 1, the nose, and those guys playing the 3?
I don't know. It did cross my mind that he didn't mention Jaheim, but I don't know. That's just where my mind went with that. I don't know. I feel like those other guys that he mentioned, they like to talk too, though. And I feel like that might add to it. Tawfiq gonna talk. Quinn gonna talk. Amari like to talk. And I feel like that might not be Jaheim. So I feel like when Zy mentioned those 3 guys in particular, he's like, yeah, we get after it and we like to talk crazy to each other. That's when he tightens
the chin strap, is when those guys are lining up.
Exactly. So I don't know if Jaheim is maybe like that in terms of, the mouthpiece, but he's obviously, we know he can play, but.
That's fair enough.
2 favorite uncles asked if is Zy a guard or tackle. Both of them. Playing mostly right guard right now, but he definitely has the ability to play right tackle as well.
Yep. All right, we'll get to more from Zy, Coach Mathis, and Coach Bartolone on the other side of this break. It is a beautiful day
Yes, it is.
outside.
Brother.
It's a beautiful day to chill. It's always a great day to chill, but today especially, 10 out of 10, just, man.
Really is.
After this show, going home, need me a Coors Light.
Period.
Need it. Come hang out with us at the DNVR bar. You know, we got a spring game a week from Saturday. You got the NFL draft, I think 2 weeks from today, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
2 weeks from today, bro. 14
Stock
days.
up. Get your Coors Light. You're going to need it for the rest of this month with this beautiful weather and all the, I mean, it's not real sports, I guess. I mean, the spring game is, but it's as close as we're going to get to real sports
we
for
got
us.
right
Yes.
now.
For a minute. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get it delivered straight to your door by visiting CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Man, I miss Arcade's Toyota. It's been too damn long since I've been blessed enough to be inside.
Do you think he took the Toyota somewhere today? Is that where he's at?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I feel like wherever Arcade goes, the Toyota is typically right with him. You feel me? As it should be.
True.
Toyota is obviously the official vehicle of DNVR. Trucks have always been a part of Toyota's DNA. For generations, Toyota has built durable legends destined for greatness and also just perfect for Colorado. Toyota's offers 17 models with available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, like the Epic 4Runner. They have 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck, which is just a unit. Toyota's SUVs take command on the road and on the trail, so you can explore the road less travel without sacrificing smooth city rides in SUVs like the RAV4 and the Grand Highlander. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. The official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. Toyota, as y'all know, proud partner of CU Athletics.
Always. All right, let's get back to Zy Crisler. This is probably the quote of the day from him. He was asked about the chemistry coming along on the offensive line. As we know, the analogy is always 5 fingers make a fist, right?
Yeah.
That's what you need on the offensive line. Here's what Zy had to say about that chemistry and how it's coming along so far.
We rolling. We rolling. Yeah, we rolling. Flight, man, we rolling right now. That's all I can say. Everybody together, we playing this one, and it's going to be a good sight to see.
Going to be a sight to see.
Rolling. Yeah, man, that's that boy seemed excited. He seemed giddy about the progress that this offensive line has been making. And I mean, today was practice 11.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would hope so. And it's good to see that Zy is obviously giddy about, like I said, the camaraderie that they're building. That's just good to hear. And again, Zy knows good offensive line play when he sees it.
Right.
He was a part of an elite offensive line a couple years ago, a really good offensive line the last few years at Illinois. And I don't think he would cap or act like it was something that it wasn't up there in front of all of us. So that's awesome to see.
Good points. With that, he knows exactly what it looks like when, especially playing guard, when a center is able to really kind of lead that line. And of course, left tackle, one of, if not the most important positions on that offensive line, protecting the blind side. So here's what he had to say playing, 11 practices so far with Jordan Seaton and Cash Cleveland.
I mean, that's my boy, Jordan. I call him Man-Child because I didn't know he was like 19 or whatever, man. Yeah, he played like he was an experienced lineman. He got a lot of awareness. He played like he didn't already been here, for real. And I appreciate that. And he really mature as a young guy. So it's good. It's good, actually, because you can, man, a lot of guys don't be mature and stuff coming in. So I feel like he was ready when he came in this opportunity. Cass was the first person I met here. He stayed around where I stayed, so like we starting to get clicking. And Cash, he a great center, young. I didn't know he was young either, man. There's a lot of young guys, but he be balling. He balling. He gonna do what he got to do, and he gonna hold his. It don't matter how small or big you is. Cash gonna do him.
Those IMG kids, man, they're different.
They really are, man. I love that about CE because, again, I bet Zy Crisler has been around young, talented offensive linemen who can play, but just don't get all of it up here. They just don't got the dog mentality, the seriousness about their craft that Jordan Seaton does. And like Crisler said right there, he said he appreciates that Jordan Seaton isn't just a talented dude. He has the mental makeup, too, to be a really dominant player. And I think it says a lot that, I mean, we say this all the time, Jordan Seaton is not your typical 19-year-old.
Yep.
It's a grown man. And I think I was probably a thing that, I mean, he mentioned it there, but probably threw his eye all the way off when he was like, wait, you a freshman? Oh, you 19 years old? Nah, that's crazy. And hey, Cash, it's my center, man. It's my center. I mean, what you gonna do? If Zy, you feel me, check off on Cash, he's the guy.
Cash Cleveland, man. He's just, I mean,
What are you gonna do?
he's impossible to get rid of, basically.
If on every rep he's doing exactly what he needs to do,
Making the calls,
making
doing all
making
that.
sure everybody's in the right spot, going to the right spot. That's what you need.
I mean, no matter who they bring in to try and compete with him, he always just seems to beat him out.
For real.
Let's go to Coach Bartolone, kind of continuing with this running the ball theme. Obviously, Zach Atkins, a big acquisition for this team, one of the biggest ones from the offseason. He was in the bracket, right? Zach Atkins?
Believe so, yeah. Yeah, I think he had a tough first round matchup with Tawfiq Byard. I think that's what
Makes
it was.
sense. All right.
7-11 matchup. Tough, always tough.
Well, we got to talk to Coach Bartolone for the first time. He gave us some good stuff. Here he is on Zach Atkins and what they loved about him out of the portal.
Well, the last 2 practices have been like his first practices being back. He was out for a couple weeks there, dealing with something. But since we've had him back, he's been productive. I think he does a really good job running and catching the football. But now we just got to work on the techniques and we got to work on the playbook, seeing the signal, processing the signal, and then executing his job. He could run and catch. He had a chip on his shoulder. Like, he's a D2 guy. But he had all the tangibles and all the qualities and traits that we look for. He could run. He could catch. He had the length. He was really tough. Like, on his tape, we saw him striking people. Like, he wasn't afraid to put his face mask in people and use his hands. So that's something you really look for at the tight end position, especially here. Like, we want guys that can run and catch, obviously, but guys who are willing and guys who are going to embrace your mindset and strike someone, like, that's what I saw on his tape. And the fact that he's coming from the Division II level and he's elevating, that guy's got a chip on his shoulder. He shows it every single day.
Chip on your shoulder.
Every single day. And like I was saying to you while he was playing, that was really good news to me.
Yes.
That Coach Bartolone obviously mentioned that Zach Atkins hasn't been out there the last couple of weeks. He's obviously been dealing with injury. He's been back the last 2 practices. And what did we say yesterday? Finally got that tight end highlight of him making a nasty catch on the Julian Lewis, pass, getting up, talking his mess, throwing up the first down sign. And that was probably his second practice back.
Right.
So he's immediately kind of getting back in the action. I think the first thing Bartolone said was about him is that he's been productive since he's been back, which is obviously what you need. He can do everything.
Exactly what you need.
They're asking that he can run, he can catch, he can block. That was something that stood out to him watching Zach back at Northwest Missouri State, is that he can put hands on people, put face mask on the chest, you know what I'm saying, and move people out the way. So sounds like the guy that this team, this offense, that position really needed. It sounds like the guy who we thought he could be. So I'm excited to see him continue to develop these rest of these spring practices and see what he might do next Saturday in the spring game.
Yeah. He's exactly what I think they thought they were getting, what we thought they were getting. I just remember that article about him, when the interest in CO peaked, and it's like 22, it's like the D2 player holds like 22 Division I offers. You remember that? Like,
I do.
One of the most coveted tight ends out of the portal, and he appears to be just as advertised. So it's exciting news. We'll see what happens in next Saturday's spring game, but more plays from Zach Atkins, more highlights from him in the next 3 practices until we hit that spring game would be amazing, very encouraging.
Facts.
Savell Smalls returns as well. He was a starting tight end last year. Converted defensive end, former 5-star, hasn't played tight end since really high school. So that's 3 years playing defensive end, and then you come to Colorado and you're starting at defensive end. Now all of a sudden you're on the other side of the ball, learning a whole different position. Here's Coach Bartolone on the progress Savell has made so far this spring and since last year.
Savell does anything you ask him to do, and he's really come a long way. He was put in an uncomfortable situation last year, asking him to do something that he hasn't really done, but he's totally embraced it. He's like very coachable. He works at the position. He embraces the position, and we've seen growth from last year to this year. We've seen growth from spring practice 1 to where we're at now. He just keeps getting better and better, and that's what I expect from him at this point. So he's doing a great job. He's always been bought in, to be honest with you. Like from day one, he was put in that position, and he was really bought in. Like he's coachable. He's spending extra time on the field, going through his footwork or really catching footballs. That was the thing for him. It's unnatural being a D lineman and doing this every play, and now having to play tight end, and it's different hand placements, and now you're catching the football at different angles. So he's had that same mindset the whole time, to be honest with you. He's been great.
Shout out to Roland Overya, another first timer.
That's awesome. Hope you enjoy. Good
Stick
to have
around.
you. But I mean, going to the title of this YouTube video here today, our show here today.
Yep.
You know why Colorado is going to be more committed to the run, obviously, here in 2025. 1, because they have to be.
Right.
2, because Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter aren't on the team anymore. But I think the most important reason is, and Coach kind of alluded to it there, they have the personnel to do it now.
Right.
They didn't really have it last year. They had 4 elite wide receivers, not even including Draylon Miller and Amarion Miller, you know what I'm saying, who you wanted those guys on the field as much as possible. And when you have 4 receivers on the field, that means you're not having a tight end on the field. And when you're not having a tight end on the field, the defense knows more likely than not, you're probably going to throw the football. And obviously with Savell Smalls playing a decent role last year, he was somebody who you bring in run situations more times than not.
Right.
You know, he is not a natural pass catcher because he's not a natural tight end like Zach Ekins is. But Zach Ekins gives you the versatility of when he's on the field, it doesn't tip your hand to the defense whether you're running the football or passing the football here, because he can block and he can run and catch. And that just brings a different wrinkle to this offense, a different dimension, because you can have both of those guys, Zach Ekins and Savell, on the field, you know, sometimes, and, you know, a 2 tight end set. And you could really play bully ball. You can play smash mouth football, as the thumbnail of our video here says today. But you could also just have Zach Ekins out there, and you can still be 50-50, you know what I'm saying, in terms of whether you might throw or run the football. And that's a big change from the personnel we saw out on the field a lot of times last year.
I think Savell Smalls has a chance to be the most improved player on this team going into this season. Just with Zach Atkins too, I think that takes a lot off of his plate. You're not expecting him to go out there, you know, be a potential 3-down player, right?
Right.
He can have like a specific role. And, you know, when we talk about the tight ends, we always mention how they kind of make you play honest, right? How they don't tip the scales, whether it's run or pass. And it's important for Savell to develop that pass catching side of his game, but it's obvious he's a physical player. You know, he came in as a defensive player. What Coach Bartolone is talking about, it's a difference in technique, but in tight end, you get to be kind of nasty at times too. So if he can really fill that role as a second tight end, you know, maybe a situational patch caster, like I'm not expecting more than like maybe 10, 15 receptions from him, right?
Yeah.
But if he is a mauler in the run game, that would change everything for Colorado, especially because we have some freshmen in this room. And I asked Coach Bartolone about the freshmen. I think Zane DeSouza isn't on campus yet, but he damn near spoke for over a minute about Corbin Leisure and what he's seen from him so far. And it sounds like he's already carving out a role as kind of that, you know, receiving option, 3rd tight end. He mentioned he split out a lot, but
definitely.
Here's what Coach Bartolone had to say about Corbin Leisure. Freshman, yep.
Again, I've seen tremendous growth from Corbin from day one to where we're at now. Like, again, he played in an offense throughout high school where he's detached a lot, and you know, he could run, he could catch. We knew that. Big kid, he's got the length, he's got the size, he's going to be strong enough. Like, now that's on me. I got to work out the techniques. I got to work out the footwork. I got to work out the hand placement, and really just the run blocking aspect of it. That's what he's got to embrace, and that's what he's doing right now. So, like, he got off to a slow start, and that's going to happen when you're a new guy. Like, he should be going to prom next week. You know what I mean? He really should. But he's here. He's playing college football. We just throw him into the fire, and he's handling it. He's seeing growth. He's going through adversity every single day, but he loves it, and he's a really coachable kid. So I'm excited to see his growth. I think he's going to be a great player.
It's exciting to hear.
Hell yeah. Broken play. I really liked his game in his film coming out of high school.
Yeah.
Like, that's a receiver in a tight end's body.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? He's probably the best route runner, pure pass catcher in that tight end room. Even right now as a true freshman. And also, like we talked about, Zach Ekins was out the first 2 weeks of spring ball.
Right.
That allowed for very valuable opportunities and reps for Corbin Leisure. And it seems like he took advantage of them. So that's awesome to see that, again, development is what we're starting to see. Not just getting guys from the portal, but guys that you recruited out of high school are developing underneath you. That's what good programs do.
Definitely. With that, I mean, Corbin has a chance to really kind of set a trend here, right? If you look at the offers that Colorado sends out, you know, the guys that they target, bringing on visits, we've talked about it this offseason. It's a lot of linebackers and tight ends. It's clear that they want those guys, running backs as well. But running back or linebackers and tight ends have really been an emphasis, at least to me, it seems like.
Definitely.
So Coach Bartolone talked about that, you know, recruiting Colorado to these tight end recruits. And I think the question was like something like, is it difficult to do that because of, you know, who Colorado's been, something like that. He spoke about it, but we'll get into it on the other side of this break. Shout out to our friends over at FanStake, a cool new app / website that basically allows you, the fans, to get in on the recruitment and retainment of your favorite college football team's roster. Right now, they're giving new fans just $25 to invest in their team. So go sign up, go to fanstake.com, use the code DNVR to help keep all your favorite players on the Buffs. Also, portal's loading up. We have already had some entries, some guys who are interesting prospects in that portal, and it's about to get even more interesting. So be ready. Sign up at FanStake now for when the portal opens next week. As I said, they're currently offering new fans a free $25 credit, no credit card required or strings attached. And we're encouraging everyone to join us in staking. Pick a player. Jordan Seaton, Carday Smith, offensive lines, obviously huge. Corbin Laser even.
Corbin Laser.
Any of these new portal targets who are going to emerge here over the next week or two, click the link in our description, scan the QR code, or just head to fanstake.com. Use that promo code DNVR to help keep the Buffs one of the strongest, if not best, rosters in the Big 12.
Period. Shout out FanStake. And also, shout out to the squad over at Sleeper, man.
Let's go.
So glad Sleeper is back in the mix. It means that we're almost back to serious sports, I think.
Soon enough, brother.
No shade on the other sports, but calling all ball knowers, the Sleeper app that you've known for hosting the best fantasy football leagues in the game, now allows you to put your knowledge to the test in every game by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each week. So not only can you start the best fantasy football, fantasy basketball league on Sleeper, you could also make a lot of coin, you know, for all our ball knowers out there, which we have plenty here watching the DNVR Buffs podcast. And me as a commissioner of a Sleeper app for the last couple of years, as a commissioner, it's the very best fantasy sports app that you can use with all the custom.
And it's not even close.
It's not. And I used to just be a strictly ESPN guy because on fantasy, because it's like, that was, you know, most popular.
Yeah.
But once I went to Sleeper, never looked back, and it's been great ever since. So if you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code BUFFS, that's Buffs, to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply it to any contest. Doesn't even have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
If you know ball, if you're a ball knower in the chat watching the show, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. All right, here's Coach Bartolone on recruiting the tight end position at Colorado and you know why that might be changing.
Our message is you make the personnel, right? You make the personnel. We sat in 10 personnel last year. We had really high quality receivers, right? So us as coaches, I mean, we look at it from a 30,000-foot view, like we're going to put the best players on the field. So like whether it's Travis Hunter, Will Shepard, Jimmy Horn, DeJounte Wester, Marion Miller, Draylon Miller, we got all these capable wideouts. So like we're going to figure out ways to play in 10 personnel and maximize the players that we have. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to get to 11 personnel. So like we used Savell last year in different type of ways. He's more of an attached to the core guy. He's run blocking, he's in protections, he's outlet and stuff like that. But now you bring in other guys to the mix that could do those things. So like if you can demonstrate that you can run and you can catch and you can do everything that we're asking a tight end to do on offense in all phases, then like you're going to make the 11 personnel, if that makes sense. The best players are going to play.
There you go. We've heard it multiple times about how, you know, the roster kind of dictated, obviously, how the team was playing last year. And they're hoping that starts again this year, right? They want to be more balanced. They want to feature more heavy sets, some 12 personnel. not just 11, but getting into some 12, maybe some 21.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
21,
happens
21.
as we move forward. Maybe we get a little peek in the spring game.
I mean, I think that might be best case scenario. Just like last year, how they decided and we all knew that the best way to move forward amicably offensively was to have 4 receivers on the field at all times.
Mm-hmm.
What if this year they realized the coaching staff, we're best offensively when we got 2 tight ends on the field? I think that would be the best case scenario for this offense, for the run game, the play action game as well. So that's a possibility. I think that's on the table right now with those 2 guys.
All right, let's wrap up pressers. Let's go to Kevin Mathis. Really just updates on some guys. I mean, he talked about DJ setting the standard, but here he is talking about Preston because was it Coach Liv who said that Preston's the guy who stirs the drink on the defense?
Yes.
So Coach Mathis was asked about that, and it seems like we're getting a new, better, and improved Preston Hodge in 2025.
He's going to be huge, man. I think he's a guy on our football team that actually got another chance, right? So he was actually supposed to be, he had exhausted all his years. So I think he's going to come back with a new attitude. He played well for us last year, and I expect him to play much better than he did last year because his mindset is different. You know what I'm saying?
Mindset is different. I think that's when you get like the gift that he got with that Diego Pavia ruling.
That's exactly what it is.
It is, and you get that year back, and you go. He could have entered the draft. He probably would have been dinged for his size and all that. Probably would be around the same range as a lot of players, day 3 range this year. But he has a real chance this year to prove himself, prove that he was worthy of getting that extra year, but also make some money for next year.
No doubt of that. I mean, that is music to my ears as somebody who drafted Preston Hodge in the 4th round of our My Guys draft yesterday. So I love to hear that. Preston Hodge, we knew. I mean, he could arguably be one of the most important players on this defense because of the position he plays. Slot corner, nickel corner, guarding, having to lock down a lot of the opponent's best route runners in the slot. And he showed up big a lot of different times last year. The UCF game, obviously some other ones as well. So him getting that extra year is massive for not only him, but I think the rest of the guys in that cornerback room as well, right? For DJ, for Colton, for RJ Johnson as well. So that's big that he's back.
Most definitely. Next one, I asked Coach Mathis about Makari Vickers, someone who we don't talk about a lot. We haven't talked about a lot because he posted that he was having heart surgery about a month ago, but Colorado has this trend of the last few years of getting these cornerbacks who didn't really play as true freshmen, and they end up joining the team, and they just blossom at Colorado. DJ McKinney, Colton Hood, RJ Johnson, even though he started off as a safety, who we will get to here in a second. So I really wanted to ask Coach Mathis about Makari Vickers, 1, to get an update, but 2, just what they saw out of him, because he didn't really play too much last year, what they saw out of him out of high school and what he could be for this team moving forward.
He's a guy that coming out of high school, man, was a great player. You know what I'm saying? I think he got caught up with some injuries down in Oklahoma, but he's a good player, man. He brings a lot of versatility to our secondary. He can play on the outside as a corner. He can go back and play safety, and we also got him playing some nickel. So I'm excited to see him on the grass. It's going to be a while. You know what I'm saying? He just had a surgery, so he's going to be out. You know what I'm saying, until fall camp. But I'm excited, man. He brings a lot of versatility to us. You know what I'm saying? And we got a lot of guys that can play multiple positions, man. And that's going to be it's great for us in the secondary.
It's a bummer that Makari had to have that heart surgery. Obviously, we hope he's doing well and he gets back on the field for fall camp, as Coach Mathis said, because it seems like they're very confident they got just a complete player who can play damn near whatever position in the secondary.
No doubt. I mean, that's really good news that he could potentially be back for fall camp. I mean, that would be huge. Obviously, just for his sake and his health, but obviously maybe for his development as well. Yeah. I mean, getting here with this coaching staff defensively, with that cornerback room, he obviously has the talent. I think he has the potential because as much as we think of the top 3 cornerbacks and maybe the 4th cornerback in RJ Johnson, right after that it's a bit unknown. Yeah, it's a bit thin. Yeah, and if Makari Vickers can kind of follow the DJ McKinney, the Colton Hood kind of trend of being at a previous spot, not getting a lot of play time, and kind of really thriving and blossoming here at Colorado, that would be massive for this secondary.
Yeah, like I think if you look at this team and you look at the portal opening next week, you kind of look at the secondary, right? Coach Prime had that clip that kind of, I don't know if it went viral, but it made its rounds, at least in CU circles, that I think he was talking to Champ Bailey and he said something like, I want two more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's clear they're targeting the secondary, I think, when this portal opens, but it's not, we don't talk about Makari Vickers because of the injury, but I think that Colorado thinks they lost like a big piece of their defense, their depth with him. I mean, kind of like Carter as a true freshman, right? He was starting at cornerback. They kind of moved him around to safety. They like to do that with some of those guys. So you lost one of those pieces. So it's going to be crucial to get him back for this fall.
Looking forward to that.
Here is Coach Mathis on RJ Johnson. He's making the switch as well from safety to cornerback and seems to have really made an impression so far this spring. Here's what Coach Mathis has seen from him.
You know what? When he first got there, he had big eyes. You know what I'm saying? It's different from playing in the middle of the field and playing on the outside because you're depending on a lot more to really just lock down your guys, especially here in Colorado. Like I said, the whole thing is make sure we lock down on the outside first. He's been transitioning well. You know what I'm saying? He has great length. He can run. It's just the ins and outs of playing the corner that he's getting used to. But I'm saying he's definitely putting a lot of pressure on these guys out there. And that's what we like in our room, man. Iron sharpens iron, and those guys know it each and every day, man. And I'm not scared to put any one of them out there, so they're going to practice hard, and that's going to make the whole room better.
Appreciate you, Coach. Thanks.
When we talk about these three cornerbacks as being the best cornerback trio in college football, and if RJ Johnson is putting pressure on them,
folks.
Watch out.
For real. And I'll believe it. This is what we've been seeing. Like, he's been making plays this spring.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote about after the 5th spring practice that he was one of my 5 kind of standouts, kind of trending up guys on this football team. And that was kind of in combination with what we've seen from him this spring, and also, what Coach Livingston said about him a couple weeks ago about he loves the look in RJ Johnson's eyes this spring, and he's really excited about what he's about to do. And we kind of heard some of that from Coach Mathis as well. I like that he talked about the transition, and that's why I asked Coach Mathis about it, because that's not easy.
Sure.
Especially in this system, right?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to go from safety to corner, and you're playing a lot of zone coverage. We know that's not Colorado's MO, especially at cornerback. So you got to cover. Like, you are on an island a lot of the times. And that's kind of where we've been seeing RJ be making plays, is one-on-one situations.
Yep, downfield.
Downfield, on Quanell, on Terrell Timmons, the older guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's big. And again, that would be huge. I honestly expect him to play the role that Colton Hood did last year, kind of as that 4th cornerback. If an injury pops up, or if you're just in obvious passing situations, RJ Johnson's probably on the field. And he kind of fits the bill, too, of what Coach Prime likes in corners. RJ Johnson is 6'2".
Yep.
And Coach Mathis said it there. He's long, he's rangy. And obviously he has the ball skills. I think he was a former 2-way player in high school. Him and Colton actually went to high school together down there in Georgia. So RJ Johnson is a guy who I'm really, really excited about.
Everyone should be excited about him. That's it for day 11 of practice. The Buffs will practice tomorrow. No media, but I'd expect to see some YouTube content from the 3 YouTube channels who we all know and love so dearly. Well Off, Reach the People, The Pregame Show.
Definitely. Our guy Darius dropped some fire content today just before the show.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Mic'd up with Caden Salter. Y'all go check that out.
Can't wait. All right, a couple other things to hit on today. Colorado has a new target in the 2026 recruiting class, and he plays cornerback. Preston Ashley. It was revealed today that he will be coming on a visit to Colorado later this summer. He is a 4-star cornerback from Brandon, Mississippi, 5'10", 170, 203rd player in the class, 17th. 247 has him at safety, but he's listed at cornerback here as well. He's excited about it, man, and he has some quotes that if these don't get you pumped up about him, because he's obviously looking at CU going like, yeah, I might slide.
Period.
He said, talking to, I think, Rivals about the offer and his visit, which will be June 20th. So that's right in the thick of it. I think that's actually like around the same date when we had the legendary Julian OV last year.
That's his last visit, too. Colorado gets his last visit.
Okay. Good news. Here's the quote from Preston Ashley. He says, ever since I got the offer, they've been stomping on my throat about going up there for an OV. That's a team that's been on a roll with me besides Auburn. He also said it's really close. It's always neck and neck. I hear from everyone all the time. It's definitely a turtle race. So it seems like he's going to take his time with this commitment. Obviously, getting the last OV is going to be huge. But these summer OVs, man, that's like real recruiting season for this program. That's where they do a lot of their damage with these recruiting classes. So maybe this could be one of those weekends, kind of like last year with Julian. I mean, we're still waiting on, when does Oscar visit? Doesn't he?
I think it's later this month, isn't it?
Is it later this month?
I thought so.
But
But I mean that he's a hell of a player. And again, him saying that Colorado staff has been stomping on his throat to get him up there for an official visit, and now he's officially visiting, proves that one, they really like this kid and think that he can probably play pretty soon after arriving on campus, right? Because as they know, they don't recruit freshmen just to ride the bench, just to sit around and develop. No, they recruit you because they think you can play and you can play early. And I would assume that's the case here for our guy, Ashley. So, that's exciting. And I was going to go ahead, though. I was going to say something else. Let me see if I can rack my brain and remember it.
Oscar Rios is visiting June 20th when Preston Ashley is visiting. So that might be the weekend they try and really stack up the board, bring in a decent number of them, and really try to build their 2026 recruiting class.
I was going to say, bro in there mentioned that right now his recruitment is a turtle race. And I feel like that's just not something
I know a lot of people are like, I want to get this over with. Like, I'm going to set this date. Like,
like even that phrase is like, gives me like old soul vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like he seems like just like a mature young man just from the use of that phrase. But that would be a great ad. And again, at a position of, I wouldn't say need, but a position they need to target at the high school ranks.
Yep. So circle the date, June 20th. That's going to be a big weekend for the Buffs with these recruits coming to town, and we'll see who else stacks up around then as well. Cam Abshire, the wide receiver, D2 kid who was targeting, he might have canceled his visit, honestly. He was supposed to come on a visit, but
yeah, right, that's true.
He committed to Oklahoma State, I think, yesterday or the day before. So
wide receiver 1 for them?
Honestly, maybe. Might be. I don't even know what that team has at this point. We'll all find out, but
for him.
We'll see when they, or eventually who they target, because it feels like they do want a couple more wide receivers. Of course, Sincere Brown, he'll be visiting for the spring game as well. Let's talk Shedeur.
Let's get it.
In the NFL draft. We're going to talk odds and numbers, courtesy of our great friends over at Bet365. Let's start with this one. The top 5 pick one. In the NFL draft for, 2 weeks from today, right?
2 weeks from 14 days.
To be a top 5 pick, the lines from Bet365, they list 4 players at the top. Will Campbell is minus 170, Mason Graham minus 150. That's it for the minuses. Armin Membaugh plus 165. Shedeur Sanders plus 220 to be a top 5 pick now. Not even like the second or the first dog. The second dog now. What do you make of this?
Seems this is the way things are going. Whether it's the betting sites that you're looking at, the betting odds rather, whether it's the various reporting from people who, have ears into NFL circles, that's the trend, is that Shedeur is falling potentially in this draft. I'm still the firm belief that when the Cleveland Browns pick at number 2 overall, they need to draft Shedeur Sanders. They have a glaring need at quarterback. And I was thinking about this too on the way in. Say you're Cleveland at 2 and you draft Abdul Carter, who news broke today that he's not going to need surgery. His foot injury is a non-concerning thing at this point. Say you're Cleveland, you drop Abdul Carter at number 2 and you want to pair him up with Myles Garrett to have an elite front 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
You're still the Browns. You're still going to be ass. You're not going to be fun either. And you're back here in the next year, the next draft, hoping and praying that you can get a quarterback who can actually turn this thing around. I think even if you draft Travis Hunter, which I think at this point, if it's not Shedeur, it's going to be Travis Hunter going to number 2 at Cleveland. It's going to be just like the New York Giants last year with Malik Neighbors. You have a scintillating talent, a young talent, a pass catcher, And obviously, Travis Hunter is, more of a dynamic, versatile athlete than Malik Neighbors. But Malik Neighbors was electric last year.
Yeah.
And he had some really fun moments. And a couple of those Giants games were fun. But 95% of them were just non-watchable. Why? Because they had a revolving door of bullshit at quarterback.
True.
That's what it is.
True.
But, and on the other flip side of that, if you take Shedeur Sanders at number 2, and he becomes who we think he's going to be, immediately, the Cleveland Browns are one of the most exciting teams, watches in the entire NFL, but potentially all of sports.
Sure.
So, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what ends up happening, but these odds are in line with what you've been saying and what people in, like I said, NFL circles have been reporting on. So, we'll see.
Pull up the team to draft Shedeur odds, Alyssa. First off, your first mistake is trusting the Cleveland Browns will do anything smart football-wise.
I'm not trusting anything. I'm just saying
Or
that's what
thinking.
they should do. Right.
Yeah, they should have done a lot of things over the last 25 years, bro.
I get it, bro. I get it. I like to think towards the future, bro. You like to think towards the past and the history. I like to
repeats
think
itself.
towards the future.
History
That
repeats
is true.
itself.
That's true.
So here's the odds for the team to draft Shedeur Sanders. The Saints at the top. We touched on this earlier in the week. The Giants second, Pittsburgh, Cleveland fourth. But the Raiders, I mean, they're down plus 1,000 now. All these teams who we thought Tennessee plus 4,000. It's like minus 5,000 for Cam Ward to go first overall now.
And this is what really pisses me off, right? Because Shedeur Sanders, in my view, has done everything that a college quarterback can do to be a top 5 pick, to be a starter right away as a rookie. Like we see so many of the quarterbacks in recent history who are taking that high are. And as I look at this list, aside from the Cleveland Browns, or I want him to go, or I think he should go, I don't think he's a starter on any of these teams, at least right away, unless he, beats out the incumbent starter, except for maybe the Steelers who don't really have a plan, but I think they're probably going to end up with Rodgers. The Saints, literally you have Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler, Jay Kaner. The Saints have drafted a quarterback in 2 straight years. You know what I'm saying?
That doesn't mean anything, though. In terms of picking one at the top of the draft, to me, that means nothing.
Okay.
Day 2 guys should not change your plan when it comes to your franchise quarterback. Unless they emerge to be that guy, a la Jalen Hurts.
I hear you. I feel like I just don't know, man. And again, the Giants, they have obviously made their decision in terms of the quarterback. Obviously adding both Jameis and Russ with Tommy DeVito. I don't know if I can beleaguer it enough, but I can't wait for that day, 14 nights from now.
We'll all find
where
out.
we see what ends up happening.
Bet365 also has Shedeur's over-under set at 8.5. The juice is on the under, plus 190. Minus 240 on the over, though.
I'll tell the people out there, you know this. Just a couple of days ago, I placed a bet.
Yeah, tell them.
For Shedeur Sanders to be the number 2 overall pick at plus 1,000.
Not bad.
Plus 1,000. So I got that in.
We'll see. Look, man, I'm with you. I think Shedeur should go. He should be the first overall pick. I don't care about 3 or 2. He's the best quarterback in this draft. He's the type of player who can turn around a franchise, I believe. He has just been disrespected beyond belief in this process. It's infuriating to see.
And it's the process. And Girl Scout says it's the draft. When the season ended, everybody thought, I would say, everybody assumed that he was going to be, at worst, the second quarterback taken, at worst, a top 5 pick. At worst. Because we watched him play football all year. You know what I'm saying? And now as the draft process goes on and there's not actually football being played, somehow his stock is as low as it's ever been, at least in the draft process's eyes. And that just really rubs me the wrong way. And again, it should be very simple. The Cleveland Browns have the number 2 overall pick. They need a quarterback. The pick should be Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
That's as simple as it should be. But them and I don't know. I don't know if they actually are, because they might end up just taking Shedeur Sanders. But a lot of people are just making this more difficult than it needs to be.
Of course they are.
But
Todd McShay put out a mock draft today. It had Jackson Dart being selected over Shedeur. I mean, we've completely lost the plot when it comes to Shedeur Sanders and his draft stock. Completely. We're not even talking about football anymore.
No.
We're really not.
No, we're not. And
So,
you mentioned Todd McShay there. He also, in his recent mock, he had Travis Hunter going number 2 overall to the Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm.
He then had Cleveland Browns trading back into the first round at number 15 overall with the Atlanta Falcons to draft Shedeur Sanders.
They should. If Shedeur,
if it falls like that, yeah.
bro, if Shedeur makes it past 9, Cleveland should be on the phone immediately trying to trade up with your Bears at 10. It's what they should be trying to do.
Gerardo is cooking right now. Kenny Pickett was their first round pick. Josh Rosen was a first round pick. The best college football player ever, Johnny Manziel, was the first round pick. And it ended up being a bust. But it's like if those guys, more particularly Pickett and Rosen, were first round picks at the quarterback position, what are we doing here?
I mean, Pickett, I'm not trying to defend him, but Pickett needs context. That was a very bad quarterback class, and he was the best one of it. So
This is a very bad quarterback class, is it not?
no. It's got Shedeur Sanders in it.
Okay. I think with Cam and Shedeur, the fall off is drastic with this quarterback class.
I mean, that's true.
And that's why I say I think it's a weak quarterback class. Obviously, it's not because of Shedeur and Cam, but after that, the drop off, in my opinion, is massive. I don't want any of those guys.
No, you're right.
If my team needed a quarterback, I wouldn't want any quarterback in this draft class other than Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. And that's also why it's just confounding to me that people are just trying to prop up Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart at the expense of Shedeur Sanders, who was obviously the best quarterback in college football this year. At worst, the second best.
We've lost the plot, bro. We've completely lost it.
I'm just hoping, I'm holding out hope that Shedeur, the NFL and people who talk about the NFL know that Shedeur Sanders drives clicks. And they're going to try to put his name in every headline that they can, in every story and article that they can. And I just hope at the end of it all, Cleveland does the right thing. I said I hope, bro. I said I hope.
Keep hoping, bro. All right. Last thing to talk about before we get to the chat. This was just a wild thing to read, and it's like the top story on On3 and all this stuff right now. The headline alone is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Tennessee and quarterback Nico Iamaleava in active contract negotiations ahead of the 2025 season. What is happening?
College football's evolving right before our eyes, bro.
This dude got a bag.
No, he did.
As a 5-star recruit.
He had one of the biggest, one of the first biggest
Yes.
NIL deals. But I think I saw somebody say that was a couple years ago, right?
This isn't how.
Hey, that was a couple years ago now. Hey, my price still went up. Nico been the starter. They know he's finna be the starter. And if he leaves, Tennessee in trouble. So what you gonna do? You got to up that bread. Up that
Of
bread
course.
if you want to keep your guy.
I mean, I get it from his perspective. And
Yeah.
I don't even blame him, really. Like, this is the system that you're in right now. Take advantage of it. If it's your time to drive the price up and you have a leg to stand on, 2 legs to stand on with that, go for it.
And he
Absolutely.
knows if he hits the portal tomorrow,
Of course.
he's the number 1 player in the portal.
Yeah.
Overall, not just position, but number 1 player overall in the portal.
It's just, gosh, we need this this house settlement to come through. We need guardrails. We just need help in college football. We need lots of help.
Cornhole talking about Nico got his own CBA. That's hilarious.
It's crazy, man.
Oh, man.
It's absolutely insane. So, I don't know.
Crazy, dog.
Credit to him again, but it's just it's tough to see that.
Yeah,
this
we
is
would
how
all
it
do
goes
it if
down.
we were in that
course.
young man's shoes. We would all do it. And if you say you wouldn't, you lying.
Let's go to, first off, we're going to hit overtime. If you're watching on your television, head on over to thednvr.com. We're going to wrap up the show over there and talk to the chat a little bit.
Jet ski. Don Juan, I completely agree. Nico seems like the prototypical USC quarterback.
Stevie says, Shedeur is in every half-hour show on ESPN, and there's another quarterback slated to be in front of him. It's crazy. And he's paying ESPN's bills, too.
Yes.
They lead every damn segment. I see multiple videos from ESPN and NFL on Shedeur.
100%.
It's wild. I think he's still the NFL's
Header
on Twitter. What are we doing?
Cashing them checks.
Is there a chance, we'll get to the chat, but is there a chance that like bookmakers and whoever actually wants Shedeur is just like rubbing their hands? Like maybe it's the Browns going, oh man.
Our guy Matt H said something that was to me very profound last week when he was in reply to something your guy Schefter had said about the Browns.
My guy, please.
But it's like once ESPN got into bed with gambling companies.
That's true.
I mean, the same thing with Shams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? On the NBA side.
Yeah.
When you have influencers like Adam Schefter is to the NFL, like Shams Charania is to the NBA, you can send out a tweet and odds will shift. That has literally happened because of a tweet, because of something that they hear or something that they report. Odds can shift. Money is being made and lost off of things that are being reported and tweeted out. And that's something that's in the back of my mind, right? Because again, as obvious as it is to me, what am I missing?
I've been asking myself that for a long time. The last 2-3 years with him.
So like if I put my tinfoil hat on, right, and get real conspiracy, they trying to get some juice off the fact that, you know, they all know Shedeur's going to go number 2 because the team drafted number 2 needs a quarterback, and he's a really good one.
Yep.
How can we kind of get something out of this? Make some money out of this by having, you know, Shedeur have the 6th best odds or whatever it is to be, you know, a top 5 pick or something like that.
It's wild. We had a fake tweet change billions in the stock market the other day too. It's a wild time right now. I don't know.
But
I honestly don't even know what to believe at this point when these reports and stuff come out.
I know. I take it all with a grain of salt, bro. Especially again, like Schefter in particular, because of that stuff. Because they're in bed with ESPN. Bet is a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's crazy.
So I don't know.
Speaking of it, I refreshed the timeline and Shedeur's just with Kay Adams. Like,
wow, he said his visit with the Steelers was at 10.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
It is wild. I do wonder though. I wonder if the Giants are like, even the Browns. They're like, oh, this is so perfect. This is so perfect. No one's going to try and trade up for him. We can just sit here, pretend we aren't interested. You know, the Abdul Carter news comes out today. Like, ooh, let's drum up the Abdul Carter stuff again. Let's see if that moves markets too.
For real.
By the way, your bet plus 1,000 for the 2nd overall pick, it's gone up plus 1,200. You gonna double down? You gonna double down?
I might. Honestly, might.
That's a baller move to do that.
I honestly might.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Bro, and everybody out there, this is how we can potentially take advantage of this narrative.
There you go.
If you like me and you think Shedeur is going to go number 2 or even in the top 5, get rich off of it. Get some bread off of it. Because there are opportunities out there.
With that, he's plus 550 to go 3rd overall. Any team, regardless of team, 3rd overall. All right, let's get to the chat.
Chatsky.
What's up, Eric? What group has the most approved in the spring game? What player has the most approved? Oh, geez. Quarterbacks. It's the quarterbacks.
With the most approved?
Yeah. And if not them, it's the running backs.
I'm going to say linebackers.
Them too?
I'm going to say linebackers.
Player? Caden, Micah, French, Hughes.
Yeah, Caden, I would
Atkins,
say Micah. Joseph Williams.
Williams. Yeah. Carter, some would say. Quite a few options.
For sure.
Essence Services says any running backs the Buffs are targeting from the portal. I wish I could tell you right now, but I have no idea who's in the portal.
I was going to say, it's Slim Pickens in the portal right now if you look on 24/7. You know, who's available, you know, from this winter portal. Most of the guys that you would want feasibly are already have found a home.
Yep.
So there'll be a whole different new batch of running backs and other positions who enter the portal next week when it opens officially on the 16th.
What's up, Lawrence? Thank you for the super chat. He says it's not the process, it's the Sanders process. Plus, Shedeur is the algorithm. That's facts. We had an NFL Combine and Big 12 Combine, but the combo was on too. Yep, 100%.
Period.
Maje says if CU was committed to the run, losing the most downhill running back, Isaiah Augusta, makes sense.
I don't see it that way. I think Michael Welch is the most downhill running back.
Well, that too, but it's not CU's fault that Isaiah left.
Yeah. And again, kind of alluded to yesterday, in a situation like that, when you're choosing to leave Coach Prime Sanders as your head coach, Marshall Falk as your running backs coach, 2 gold jackets, coming off a season where you were the leading rusher.
Yeah.
It probably means that there was some, you were swayed in the form of that right there. And as somebody in Isaiah Augusta's case, who has a young daughter at home, I completely understand that. And like I said earlier, pretty much everybody in his situation would do the same thing if they were presented a figure that
you're 21.
could potentially change
Sure.
you and your family's life.
Of course.
So I don't blame him at all, but that is just the reality of the situation.
Plus, I mean, we talked about it. When you have a new running back coach and Marshall Falk coming in,
Mm-hmm.
I would have been completely shocked if this room stayed exactly the same as it did from February till August.
For sure. I mean, we all knew they were going to add regardless.
Yep.
I mean, if everybody remained and they added, that turns into a really crowded room.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I like Micah and Dallin and Brandon Hood, who we talked about yesterday a little bit, and obviously Charlie as well, in addition to whoever they end up adding out of the portal starting next week. It's a good group.
It is, and it's going to get even better very soon.
Definitely.
All right, chat. We will be back tomorrow. RK will be back tomorrow as well. Let's close out the week strong. Close it out right on Friday, right?
Hell yeah.
Shout out to all the first timers. We got a Buffs roundtable dropping too, so go become a diehard on the site. See you all tomorrow. School Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.